All right. Welcome, folks. Welcome to the Healthy Electric Homes in Palo Alto webinar. Can you hear me okay? All right. We're going to give folks a minute to join and then we're going to get started here shortly. Right. Do we have good? All right. Thanks everyone so much for joining this Healthy Electric Homes in Palo Alto webinar, where you'll learn how to electrify your home and all about some incentives and assistance programs that we have here in Palo Alto. Thanks so much for joining. My name's Diane Bailey. I'm a Sustainability Programs Administrator here at the City of Palo Alto. We're going to ask everyone to hold onto your questions until the end of the presentation, which will only last about 25 minutes. And then you can use the raise your hand feature and we'll unmute you and have a nice long half-hour Q&A session. So a little background before I get started on home electrification. Why are we all talking about this? Perfect, thank you. Palo Alto has a very ambitious sustainability and climate action plan with a greenhouse gas goal of reducing emissions to 80% below 1990 levels by 2030. And the city of Palo Alto actually owns its own utilities, and we provide 100% carbon neutral electricity, and we help run many of the sustainability programs that contribute to this climate action plan, including clean energy, water, building electrification, and electric vehicles. Slide. So, home electrification is really a key strategy to improving sustainability and meeting our greenhouse gas reduction goals to address climate change. Buildings are one of the largest sources of greenhouse gas emissions in Palo Alto. They account for over 40% of the greenhouse gas emission reduction strategies that we need to meet our 2030 climate goal. And Palo Alto has long been a leader in green building, energy efficiency, and electrification policies over the years. But you too can play a very important role in this effort to reduce our climate emissions. So today, we'll cover some steps that you can take to electrify your home. First, I'll give an overview of some of the benefits of electrifying your home. Next, I'll share some of the rebates, incentives, and free consultation services here in Palo Alto. And then I'll turn it over to Cooper Marcus with Quick Carbon to give you some practical tips on how to get started with your home electrification project. When he's finished, Tom Cabot will join Cooper to answer your questions in a long Q&A session. Both Tom and Cooper are two of the top experts on home electrification. They've helped hundreds of homeowners switch from gas to clean electric appliances, and we're very fortunate to have them providing electrification expert services here in Palo Alto. Next slide. Okay, so getting into some of the benefits. One of the top benefits to you as you replace your gas appliances in your home will be clean air and healthier homes. Instead of burning gas, clean electric appliances improve air inside your home as well as throughout your community. In fact, if you consider the NOx pollution, that's nitrogen oxide pollution, that's generated by gas appliances, this is actually much greater than the NOx pollution from all of the cars in our region. And as you can see in this graphic, it's a very serious pollution source. NOx contributes to both smog as well as fine particulate, and it's a federally regulated pollutant. In addition, as you electrify your home, you'll improve your safety. There are no gas leaks or carbon monoxide risks with an all-electric home. You'll also save money because electric appliances are much more efficient. They can save you hundreds of dollars a year on your energy bills. Electric appliances can also make your home a lot more comfortable. Heat pumps can heat and cool your house gently without the typical hot air blast of a gas furnace. Electric appliances also provide smart technology. These appliances can help you manage your electrical loads and shift energy use to the times of day when the rates are the lowest so that you can save more money. As you electrify your home, you can really be a part of the climate solution. Gas, also known as methane, contributes significantly to global warming. And Palo Alto has a citywide goal to reduce our greenhouse gases. So, home electrification, as I mentioned, is really a big part of this climate plan. Next slide. So, here is a little summary of some of the programs that we offer here in Palo Alto to help all of our residents electrify their homes. Starting with switching out your gas water heater with an electric heat pump. You can get assistance with a free home assessment. You can get advice from an electrification expert or an energy advisor. You can learn how to electrify your cars and go EV. We also have a rebate hub where you can learn all about the different rebates and incentives and how to apply for them. And you can also learn how to install solar on your home. All of this information is available on our website, paloalto.gov/electrify my home. We also have an energy advisor who you can call to get directed to any of these programs or ask questions. Just one call to the number on the screen. With that, you will reach an energy advisor and they can help connect you with the services that you need. Next slide. So, looking at our rebate offerings, Palo Alto offers up to actually over $12,000 in rebates and incentives for homeowners to help switch from gas to clean electric. And we have even higher rebates and assistance available for income qualified homes to help provide greater assistance to those who really need it the most. You can find all this information about the rebates as well as applying for the rebates on our rebate hub. And while we've offered a heat pump water heater rebate since 2017, a lot of our rebates for home electrification are new. They started at the beginning of this year in January with the core rebate for heat pump HVAC appliances of up to $2,500. And this really requires you to retire a gas furnace or a fossil fuel heater in order to get this rebate. In addition, there's a kicker of $2,500 as an incentive if you cut off your gas meter entirely and go all electric in your home. And again, all of these rebates are available at the Rebate Hub on our website. Next slide. In addition to these core rebates for heat pumps and the gas meter removal, there are several add on rebates that you can get while you're applying for a heat pump rebate, either for a water heater or a central heater. If you're one of those homes that needs to upgrade your electrical panel, perhaps there's an old panel that's unsafe or just too small for your home, you can access up to $1,000 as a rebate for panels up to 200 amps. We'd like folks to consider smaller, more moderate sized panels and not oversize them. And so that's what that incentive is for. In order to make your home more energy efficient so you could benefit more from a new heat pump that's right sized for your home, we also have rebates for attic or rooftop insulation of up to $1,000. And lastly, we have several rebates to help you rewire your home to add circuits to serve these new electric appliances. Up to $2,000 is available with a maximum of 500 per circuit or per load sharing device. And a lot more information about these types of rebates is available on our website. Again, I would encourage you to go to that rebate hub and look at these different options. Next slide. In addition to our rebates and incentives, we have Quit Carbon helping all of our residents for free to produce home electrification plans. All you need to do is go online and fill out a very brief survey, and they're going to talk to you a little bit more about that in a moment. And they also offer free consultations, and these are with seasoned experts who have electrified many homes there to answer any of your questions, to review bids from your contractors, or generally to assist you in designing your project. Next slide. So we also have a few full service heat pump water heater programs that offer a standard rate for a heat pump water heater installation of around $2,300, keeping the price very low. This doesn't apply to everyone. Some homes are complex and need additional services, but it's generally cheaper through these programs to install a heat pump water heater than to replace your gas water heater with a new gas water heater. We have two options, either full service or an emergency option. The full service option has a concierge assisting customers throughout the process and offers around $4,500 or more in subsidies to help keep the costs very, very low. In addition, there's a zero interest on bill loan of up to $1,200 that's available for customers to really keep the costs of the initial installation low. And we've installed over 400 heat pump water heaters through this program so far. We also have a newer emergency option started last fall with another contractor to ensure that when folks are out of hot water with a broken water heater, that they can get a heat pump water heater installed within 48 hours. The cost is a little extra for weekend service or after hours, but the pricing is generally about the same, discounted relative to the market standard. And we've had a lot of folks go through this program as well, meeting that 48-hour turnaround. Next slide. We have a really exciting contest right now to incentivize folks not to delay and go ahead and install a heat pump water heater now. Starting on Earth Day of this year, we launched a heat pump water heater giveaway contest to help folks upgrade their old gas water heaters. You can win a free heat pump water heater. It's up to a value of $15,000, although very few people would spend that much. You just need to sign a contract and fill out a form to get signed up for this free giveaway project by the end of this month. And you can find more information on our website about this, find the terms and conditions that apply. And if you don't want to go online, you can come and get a form here at City Hall and fill that out and submit it that way. Slide. All right, wrapping up and turning this over to the folks at Quick Carbon shortly. As I mentioned, Cooper at Quick Carbon, a very seasoned electrification expert, is going to tell you about the nuts and bolts of how exactly to electrify your home. And before I hand it over to Cooper, I want to emphasize that all homes in Palo Alto have the capability of being electrified, and the pathways and electrification plans will look different for different homes. But the possibility is there if you're interested, and Cooper can help you do that. So, Cooper, I'll hand it over to you.
All right. Thanks, Diane. Great presentation up to this point. Really excellent. I hope I could keep the good things going. So, yeah, we're going to talk about briefly the different components of moving your home onto all electric, off of gas, and how Quick Carbon, in partnership with the City of Palo Alto, helps make the magic happen. Next slide. So, what does it mean to electrify? Well, it means moving your gas water heater to a heat pump water heater. Now, over on the left, we see a traditional tank style gas water heater. Some homes have a tankless water heater or a combination boiler. No worries. There's always a way. There's always a heat pump option for moving your home's hot water. And maybe your heat pump water heater is going to end up in a closet like on the right, or in some other part of your home, maybe in your garage, maybe in a outdoor enclosure. Again, lots of great options that Quick Carbon is skilled with advising you on and helping you feel comfortable with even before you talk with a contractor. Now, moving on, you're going to want to also move your home heating over to a heat pump. And this is about moving your gas furnace or maybe your gas boiler over to heat pump heating and air conditioning. We see there on the right a typical outdoor unit of a heat pump heating and air conditioning system. The indoor unit, it looks an awful lot like the one on the left, but it no longer has that gas vent taking the horrible pollution out from the top of it. It's connected to your outdoor unit. All heat pump heating and cooling systems come with cooling. So if you don't have air conditioning today, well, when you switch to a heat pump, you're going to get it. Whether you use it or not, it just comes with it. Now, you've got your water, your heating. Let's talk about cooking. You probably have a gas stove, puts out pollution into your home, can affect the health of your family. Switching that to induction cooking is really amazing because not only are you dramatically improving your indoor air quality and making an important step in moving your home off of gas, but you get a better cooking experience. Like Diane mentioned before, this isn't just about switching the energy source. In many cases, this is about having a home that works better for you. Look at that nice smooth glass top on the right. Imagine how much easier that is to clean than all those nooks and crannies and grates over on the left. Plus, induction stoves are super powerful. They boil water much faster. They have much more precise controls. They're really quite amazing to cook on. So we've done your water, your stove, your heating and cooling. How about all the other parts? Well, you bet. There are terrific electric dryers of all sorts, heat pump dryers, combination washer dryers. I've got one like that on the left in my house. One compact machine that washes your clothes and dries it with clean, cost-effective electricity, all in the same machine. Down on the lower right, we see an amazing, realistic electric fireplace. The flames are so realistic, you really cannot tell the difference from afar, and they can even put out heat. There in the middle, that big black monolith, that's your heat pump pool heater. Yep, you can heat your pool and your spa with clean, affordable electricity. Quite incredible. And of course, there on the upper right, there's an EV charger for charging your electric vehicle. Now, EV charging can be one of the notable challenges when it comes to electrifying your home while staying on your existing electrical service. Let's go to the next slide. Here at Quick Carbon, we help folks all over California move their homes off of gas and onto electricity. And we hear from a lot of folks that they've been told, step one, get more electricity into your house before you make any of these great upgrades we're talking about. Well, that was maybe a more old-fashioned way to approach this. And with the benefit of modern technology, modern power-efficient design, most homes in Palo Alto can be converted to all electric without a big upgrade to their electrical panel or electrical service. This is good for your wallet, you're avoiding that expense, but it's also good for your community because you're not imposing those additional electrical demands on the electrical network, which is owned and operated by the city of Palo Alto. Now, there's lots of important things to consider as you're making your choice about how much electricity your home's going to have. And Quick Carbon is expert at making these considerations with you. In some cases, a given circuit may need to be shared between two different loads. We see there on the left a circuit sharing device that is powering your amazing new induction range when you need to cook. And the other 23 hours of the day, it's powering your EV charger, a great way to share a resource instead of dedicating electricity to each of them. There's options for adding a sub-panel. This provides more space for circuit breakers, allowing there to be more circuits that are connecting to these new electric appliances without necessitating an increase in your home's overall electric service. Now, choosing more efficient models, more efficient heat pumps, more efficient heat pump dryers, this can be a great way to make it less likely that you're going to need more electrical service in your home. That combined washer dryer that I have in my house and maybe you're going to have in your house, it plugs into a regular outlet. It replaced a big old gas dryer and a big old washer in one smaller machine that's super efficient. Finally, EV charging is one of the biggest opportunities to avoid needing to upgrade your electrical panel. The old-fashioned way of approaching EV charging is to give it a ton of power, which you never need. Most cars are parked at home all night, and what's important to most people is that their car have enough power the next morning. High-power EV chargers can charge a car up in a very short period of time that's usually not needed. Quick Carbon can help you understand if a lower power EV charger is going to work well for your driving habits, the way your family uses the EV in your house. And if it is, another great way to avoid upsizing your electrical service and panel. This is called power efficient design. And Tom Kabat, who's joining us here on the call and will be helping with questions, and who is one of the advisors working with Palo Alto residents, is really the originator, I feel like, of the power efficient design movement. We are students of his and experts at it now, and we're looking forward to helping you with your power efficient design. So let's move on to the next slide. How are we actually going to do this? Well, Quick Carbon's going to walk you through a three-step process. First, we'd like to learn a little bit about your home. You're going to come to our website through the link on the City of Palo Alto website, and you're going to tell us a bit about your home, its maybe insulation and windows, its existing electrical panel, your existing appliances. We hope you'll choose to share some photos with us, which really helps us understand your starting point. Then Quick Carbon's going to generate for you a highly optimized plan, the insights we call it. It's going to have all the rebates that your home qualifies for. It's going to have rough cost ranges. So even before you talk to a contractor, you'll get a sense, is this in my budget, right? We'll have you understand the next steps as well in terms of how you're going to proceed with these things. Ideally, you'll schedule a time to talk with us. We'll help you fill out extra details of your profile, clarify any questions, and make sure you're feeling confident and sure in your next steps, which is really moving to an upgrade. To get an upgrade done, you're going to need to do business with a contractor. The City of Palo Alto has put together a terrific list, which is a great place to start. You're going to get some proposals, and then I hope you choose to share them with Quick Carbon, because one of the services we offer is reviewing the proposals for you, giving you an expert analysis or feedback on these individual proposals. Are the prices right? Is the scope correct for your home? Are there improvements you could request from the contractors? We'll give you all of that clarity talking with us. And we'll help you through that process, which will hopefully result in you saying yes to a contractor, getting one of those upgrades done, and then, well, we'll help you with the next one. Most folks we work with do not do all of their appliances all at once. Maybe they do their water heater this year and their stove next year, or their EV charger right away because they're welcoming a new EV, and then they're thinking about doing their heat pump for heating and cooling before the next winter. That's great. Whatever timeline you're on, we're here to support you in the process and help you feel confident in the work you're doing with the contractors you're selecting. Let's move on to the next slide there. So these are some important resources for you, and the top link is probably the most important one there because that's where you'll find all the things we were seeing earlier in the presentation. That's where you'll find the links to talk to an advisor, to get going with Quick Carbon. That's really the place to start. Now, I know you can't click on Zoom right now, but not to worry. These links will be shared with you after the call, as will, I think, the recording as well. So you'll have that too. I think we're looking forward in just a moment here to taking some questions. I believe, I hope, maybe you can type them into the Q&A, or you can raise your hand, click the little raise hand button there on Zoom, and Olivia will bring you off of mute and we can have questions. Sound good, Diane?
Sounds great. Thanks, everyone. We'd love to take your questions.
And there's Tom. Welcome, Tom.
Oh, hello.
Basement refrigerator. There's a Rumbauer Chardonnay.
Is any off limits?
No, nothing's off limits.
Kim, I think you're off mute.
Okay, great. Hey, so my question is that if you go through electrification and you get to the point where you want to disconnect your gas service, because then you save money on your utility bill if you do that, can you disconnect your gas service and then still leave it infrastructure in place so the next owner of the house may, for whatever reason, want to reconnect it? Is that the kind of final phase of electrification? Thank you.
Well, I can start with an answer on that. Kim, thank you for that question. That's a good one. We understand that some folks want to keep their gas service for different reasons. It's absolutely your choice. The one thing is there is the $2,500 incentive for removing your gas meter. And so you wouldn't get that. You would continue to pay the service charge. There's a monthly service charge to access the gas system from the utility. And so you would continue to pay that. But yes, it's absolutely a customer's choice whether to keep that or not. Cooper and Tom, I don't know if you wanted to add to that.
Sure. I mean, what we see is that for a lot of families, it ends up being a little bit like, well, when I switch from coal heat to a modern natural gas furnace, can I keep my coal bunker? Well, you could, but all electric homes for most families are just way better. And the idea that somebody would want to go back to old-fashioned, more expensive, less comfortable gas service, we just never see it. But thank you, Diane, for answering the technical aspect of that question.
Yeah, I think you answered. So what I'm saying is, yeah, if I went full electric, I would want to remove all that gas infrastructure, so the meter and stuff. But and therefore then I'm done. But the next person who buys the house, they could then just hook it back up again if they wanted. I personally would have no interest in hooking it back up, but they could, right? I haven't crippled them indefinitely by doing that. That's actually my question.
Yes, that's a fair point. Yes, that's right. I'd like to move on to other questions if there are some.
We're seeing some in the Q&A as well, Diane. Should we answer those live or how do you want to?
Let's see. Let's take a question from Nellis and then we'll move to the Q&A, the questions online. It looks like
I'm on mute. Can you hear me okay?
Great, we can hear you now.
Okay, great. So I have two questions. One is I've looked at the heat pump water heater, and one reservation that my wife has is the fact that, you know, we're in an earthquake country and you can use your existing water heater as a water reservoir in case of a disaster. What, and I understand that a heat pump water heater doesn't retain water because I guess it provides your water instantly. Um, is that a deal breaker as far as not installing, replacing? I actually have an electric heater, and I was contemplating going with the heat pump water heater, but that the stopping point at this time.
You know, I thought I'd try that to answer that. You might be confusing two different things. The heat pump water heaters that Cooper was showing, they are a storage tank water heater that does have that emergency water available for you after a shutdown, say from a quake. In fact, we often upsize the tanks to provide even more thermal storage, so it gives you more liquid water storage after a quake. But the other type of water heater that a lot of people did switch to that doesn't provide them any water for quakes are those tankless gas water heaters. They are misnamed instant water heaters, but they actually lag about 30 seconds while they heat up. So they give you slower hot water and none during emergencies. So we don't recommend those.
Okay, great. That means I might be moving that direction. The only gotcha I have now, about 2 years ago, I was trying to look at adding air conditioning to my existing heating system, and I was told I would have to upgrade my electric panels in order to do so. And I think the ones I have were installed probably in the late 60s. I do have a couple of sub panels, but they indicated that my main panel didn't have enough power to add additional circuits for that purpose. I mean, I have a hot tub. I have an electric carb that I'm only using 220 because I haven't been able to upgrade that either. So just wondering, I know you mentioned that I wouldn't have to do a full electric upgrade if I did add the heat pump water heater and eventually an air conditioner or heater, combined air conditioner. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, we definitely welcome the challenge of fitting full electrification onto every panel, even the 100-amp panels. And so it's just a kind of a fun puzzle to try to see what are the different ways to get it to fit there and comply, solving both the amperage problem and solving the breaker space problem. And a number of those technologies Cooper was showing kind of address both problems at once. And so that this kind of practice of power efficient design is evolving quickly. And so advice that people may have gotten a couple of years ago or last week that they have to upsize may not be appropriate. What you really have to do is pay attention to the design, and the city's program is there to help you pay attention to evaluating how to fit on the panel and whether you want to upsize or save the money.
Okay, sounds like what you guys have said so far might be a good interest to me. But I think my information was at least 2 years old, so thank you.
Yeah,
Great. I'm going to answer a couple of the questions in the Q&A online. And I want to note that Tom just answered the anonymous question about the 200 amp panel size, I think, although we can come back to
Yeah,
that more in a
yeah.
moment if folks are interested.
I
Yeah,
think there's one more detail there. Tom, you going to do it?
well, I was going to mention that we don't size the panels just by adding up all the numbers on the breakers. We look at the nameplate ratings of all the equipment attached to the breakers, at least the important equipment like the water heater, the dryer, the cooking range, the car charger, those types of things. And then we apply the National Electric Code rules to how we do those electric load calculations. They assume that not everything is turned all the way on all at the same time because we just never operate that well. Most of the time, people load their panels at about 35% of their full rating. That's what we see when we look at statistically at large groups of panels. We see the average is for their peak for the year is only about 35% of the rating of the panel.
That's right. And here at Quick Carbon, where we've worked with thousands of homes, we worked with many and developed plans for them to fully electrify with no sacrifices in home performance and comfort on 100 amps. And it's even possible in some circumstances on 60 amps. So there's certainly no rule that 200 or more amps is required. Definitely not the case, not with the clever design and techniques that you get from Tom and Quick Carbon via the Palo Alto program. Diane, can I maybe answer the
Hey.
solar panel question real quick?
Yes, please.
Yeah, great. So Werner was asking about solar panels and are there incentives? So while there is a federal tax credit for solar panels, at least for now, it seems likely that Trump's taking it away. In Palo Alto, solar panels may not make a whole lot of sense as a great investment in your home. You know, your electricity in Palo Alto, I don't have the pleasure of living there, is already super clean. Diane told us about it before, and it's remarkably cheap. When your electricity is cheap and clean, solar panels don't do much extra for you.
Yes, and
And
I'll
I
just add that
Yes, go ahead, Diane.
so
And you might want to save your money to invest it in a heat pump or a heat pump water heater or an amazing induction stove. You might prefer that.
I'll just add that if you are ever considering a generator for your home for backup power, solar coupled with battery energy storage could be a good fit for your home, just to ensure that you have power in case of an outage or something like that. And you can also use that to save money and use the energy from your battery system that was generated from the solar panels during peak energy times. And I'm going to use that as a segue to Mel's question about time of use electricity rates. Yes, in fact, those are under consideration right now here at the City of Palo Alto and slated to go into effect in January of next year. And in that event, what will happen is the pricing for electricity will go up in the early evening. I think the peak energy times around 4 to 9 p.m. generally. But those will get published ahead of time and everyone will be notified of when the peak energy rates are. And again, that should be coming in January of next year. Moving to Kamal, the question about contractors who can handle heat pump for HVAC. We do have a courtesy contractor list on our website, and you could just follow the links to paloalto.gov/electrify my home From there, you'll find that courtesy list and you'll see a good number of contractors who have experience permitting projects here in Palo Alto. We do not endorse any of these contractors. We just offer the list as a courtesy to say that these contractors are experienced with heat pumps and have permitted installations here. Let's see. There were a couple questions about whether it's necessary to apply for a rebate before doing an installation. Yes, it is. It is required and it's to your benefit because if you apply ahead of time, you'll know what you qualify for and if you qualify for the rebate. So it'll be helpful to your project so that you can know what the out of pocket is for you. Looking at other questions. No, to Victor's question about whether installers are limited to those listed on our website. No, to use our rebates, you can use any of the installers in the area as long as they're getting it permitted and inspected through the city of Palo Alto. We don't limit installers. I do want to point out a feature on our rebate application platform that you can get bids from contractors directly through that application platform, the rebate hub, and that's a matter of convenience, but you're really not limited, and self-installs are possible as well.
Yep. Diane, I see an anonymous attendee asked if there are noise ratings available for the recommended appliances and that they had noticed large differences in the noise output from different heat pump AC units, outdoor units that they have seen. And I'll agree with them. Definitely early generation and kind of low end air conditioners that we see we see around a lot, typically those yard cubes. A lot of them have bang bang control. They'll either be off and then their thermostat calls for cooling and they will bang on with a sudden loud noise that everyone notices. And then they roar for a while and they overcool the building and then they bang off and go back to silent again. They cycle. And so that was a control style that was happening before the mid 1990s. And since then, we've had more sophisticated computer controls in these heat pumps, which are two-way air conditioners. They operate a lot more hours per year, so it made more sense to spend some money on the controls. The sophisticated control kind of ramps them up gently to whatever power level is needed to get the home into equilibrium and then just keep it there steadily. So these inverter-driven heat pumps can be a lot quieter than the old single speed bang bang air conditioners that you may have heard when you're walking around the neighborhood. But there are noise ratings on the spec sheets of the different equipment you can buy. So that'd be the place to look for those noise ratings.
Diane, if I might hop in on a question that Nellis asked, what are the dimensions of a heat pump water heater? I typed out the answer, but just to share with everybody verbally, it depends. They come in a variety of sort of shapes and sizes. Generally, they're slightly larger than the gas cylinder tank water heater that they replace, but they don't have to be. And sometimes Quick Carbon will help our clients, you, figure out that you want a different size, maybe even in a different location, which is certainly a possibility. Some clients have actually regained some of their interior space by moving their new heat pump water heater into a exterior or previously unused location in their home. So that sort of movement and change in the way your space is used is a possibility.
Great. Thank you, Cooper. We have a few more questions here about calculating project payback, as well as power backup without solar panels. Cooper or Tom, if you want to take one of
Yeah,
those.
I can touch on the payback period. Yes, and payback depends a lot on what you value. right? And many of the solutions we're talking about provide value that can be different to different people in terms of, the numbers, right? How much do you value a better cooking experience? How much is the dollar value of a home that's quieter and more comfortable because you have a new heat pump system? Well, it depends who you ask. So, in general, the kind of upgrades we're talking about, at worst, will cause your utility bills to not change much, and at best will cause them to go down in sometimes a significant way. Um, in terms of payback period, many of the upgrades or home investments we're talking about will eventually become necessary, right? So you don't get to choose when you replace your water heater that's failed. You're going to replace it right then because you don't like cold showers. Now, we hope in this program you choose to replace it before it's an emergency. But if you find yourself in an emergency, well, don't think about payback. Just call the Palo Alto program that will get you a heat pump water heater right away. Um, and we're happy to provide more sort of economic details on an evaluation call. Anything you want to add to that, Tom or Diane?
Nothing
Yeah, that
from
was
me.
great.
Thanks.
We have one raised hand. Let's see, who's that? Is that Nellis? Okay, we're gonna unmute you.
There's actually typing it in,
There
but
we go.
I'll go ahead and ask the question. So if I know I'm going to go with the heat pump water heater, and eventually with I think the air conditioner combined heater, air conditioner you were talking about, where I'm pretty sure I would have to upgrade my panel or use the option that you have presented. Would that be something that the Quick Carbon would provide an estimation of based on what information I fill out on the website? How does that get those steps started, I guess?
Yeah, certainly. So Quick Carbon will not provide a bid. We are not a contractor and we don't sell you any of these upgrades, but we will provide a range of costs based on our experience, seeing lots of different similar work happening in and around Palo Alto. And we'll also help you understand what work you must do and what work you may do. When it comes to electrical panel upgrades, often it's not strictly necessary, but in consultation with you, we may help you understand that you might choose to do an upgrade, and then you're making an informed decision. Well, I don't have to do it, but I want to do it, and now I can understand, I can think about the costs of it. Also, on those cost ranges, you'll get them from us before you spend the time talking with a contractor, right? So it will save you potentially time of calling a contractor and then discovering that something's much more expensive than you had thought. So we want to help you go into that well
Okay,
prepared.
great. That's good. Thank you. Thanks for that.
Yeah, I thought I'd try to answer Sheila's question about heat pump water heaters. They now have both 120 volt simple plug-in models and the 240 volt hardwired models. Uh, they've come out onto the market. There are several of them now that are 120 volts, and those are really great for emergency installs. They're easy to get in the same day for an install, and so that's one of the ways people are using those. They have one dilemma. If they're in a room that gets below 40 degrees Fahrenheit for some days of the year, the heat pump part of it won't operate below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. And so then it needs to rely on the backup resistors. So if you've got say, a very cold garage that you were putting it in, or an outdoor closet that you were putting it in, you might want to use the 240 volt model that has the electric resistance backup that can still provide all that hot water. There's kind of an interesting design also on the market that has a 900 watt, which is a smaller resistor that can handle those couple of days we have that where your garage may go below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Um, and then GE is coming back into the market with a heat pump water heater in a couple of months that is convertible. It can go in on an emergency basis, plug in the wall at 120 volts, and later the electrician can come and wire the 240 volt to it and just flip the switch over to 240 volt. So lots of options. Things are getting easier to electrify all the time with these new power efficient design models. So it's kind of a nice time to be electrifying because new options are available.
That's right, and those new options can make a big difference, even sometimes options that aren't on the market yet, like the GE model that Tom mentioned, and other new pieces of equipment that Quick Carbon's tracking. If we find an option that might be important for your home, we'll let you know about it, and then when they actually become available, help you procure one. Now, I see that Sheila asked about if getting power backup, presumably via batteries, but without solar, do we need a 200 amp main panel? No. The power backup and the size of your main panel are independent questions. So no, plenty of homes get power backup on 100 amps, no problem.
Great. Also see a question about smart panels.
Yeah,
Cooper or Tom, do you want to take? Mhm.
yeah, I'll try to address that. So these smart panels, and there are also smart sub panels and even smart breakers out there, different versions of these things. The kind of the full-on smart panel, it has sensing on board and it measures how much current's being used by the panel. And if you're trying to run so many things all at once that it gets up above its limit of say 80% of the rating of the main breaker, it would then pause the appliance you would put in order to pause first. Maybe it was the car charger. And if you were still baking more and more cookies and trying to do the laundry and heat the pool at the same time, it might pause the second thing you put in the priority order, and maybe that was heating the pool. So it's a kind of a load shedding device that would probably only activate, we find, once or twice a year during some kind of big neighborhood cooking party during the winter with all of your doors and windows open while you're doing your neighbor's laundry and charging their cars. Like I said before, people rarely get to the top of their panel, but it takes some extraordinary event to get them there. And then it would shed one of the loads.
Great. Any other questions? I think that we've gone through all of them.
Yeah, the anonymous attendee asked if heat pump water heaters last longer, and Diane answered that yeah, probably. And one piece of evidence for this is that generally heat pump water heaters have longer warranties than comparable gas water heaters. What that tells you is that the manufacturer believes they will last longer. And part of the reason for this actually goes back to one of the central things that Diane started the presentation with. Gas water heaters produce um, corrosive pollution. Not only is the pollution bad for your family and bad for your society, your neighborhood, but it's also bad for the water heater. Gas water heaters cause their own demise by burning gas and producing corrosive pollution that then corrodes them from the inside out. Heat pump water heaters use same sort of compressor technology as your fridge. And I don't know if you've noticed, but it sure seems like fridges last a long time. I've seen plenty of fridges that are 30 years old, still going strong. That's the kind of technology that's in a heat pump water heater.
Great. I see one more question about solar panels and about whether it's worthwhile to install a smaller solar system to work with a battery backup to make your home a little more resilient against power outages. Kim, that question's for you. I hope I'm interpreting it correctly. I think this is really up to the homeowner and their needs. If you have medical devices that you need to power overnight and you're really concerned about outages, that could make sense. Yes. And you could use a battery by itself as well. But I think this is something you need to explore directly with contractors to get bids and figure out what works best for your home.
Yeah, that's right. Batteries do not require solar. In places outside of Palo Alto, there's great reasons for the pair. Within Palo Alto, less good reasons. Also, if you're sort of thinking about the future, maybe a year or two or more out, an interesting new technology coming to market is how about use your EV as your home battery? This is not really an option that's readily available today, but it's coming. Many EVs are already compatible with this bidirectional arrangement, and in the coming months and years, we'll see more options for bidirectional chargers. And then when your car's at home, you can run your home off your car. And EV batteries are humongous, like 5 to 8 times as large as a typical home battery. So if you're interested in a lot of backup power for your home, that might be an option to consider in the future. And Quick Carbon can help you consider it.
Great. All right, we're going to wrap up in a couple minutes here. I see another question from Sheila about having an Eichler home and the panel sizing there, plus potentially an ADU. Tom or Cooper, you want to take this one? And this is a good time to talk about Eichlers and the special needs there, as well as homes with ADUs.
Yeah, Tom, what's your opinion on that? I see the last part of the question is there a fee from the utility based on the panel size? Is there, Diane? Good question.
Yes, the very largest panels can be more expensive to install. Yes, I think that's more applicable to a 400 amp size though,
I see.
which
Okay.
is not what this,
But
not what's asked here.
there's no notable change in your electricity bill just because you have a 200 amp panel, right?
No, no.
No. Yeah, Tom, what do you think? This is an
Yep.
interesting situation with
Yeah,
that.
it is an interesting case. Because trying to add an ADU, and there's a wide range of what an ADU means to different people. Sometimes it's just converting half of the garage into a bedroom type unit, and other times it's adding a whole new 1,500 square foot structure, freestanding structure with its own kitchen in the yard. So it would make sense to take a look at the design and see what the options are. And in some cases, it might all fit on the old panel if it was a small ADU. In other cases, you might need a 200 amp service to handle the pair of buildings.
That's right, and this is exactly the sort of detailed analysis and advice that is part of the electrification expert program provided to you by the City of Palo Alto Utilities.
Yeah, I want to add one more point in relation to the questions about battery backup and what to do in an electric home if the power is out. First of all, I want to note that new gas appliances do, for the most part, uh, they do need electrical power to start up, including gas water heaters that are new. One benefit of heat pump water heaters when the power is out is that the tank is well insulated and the water stays hot for a long time. Uh, I am looking to see if we have any additional questions. I think it might be time to wrap up.
These are great questions, and if you think of more later when you're reviewing the notes from the call, you just wake up in the morning and, oh my gosh, I wonder about, come on over to the Palo Alto website. You'll get the URL in the follow-up email, and we've posted it in some of the answers to your questions. And you can have a call with an energy advisor or with Quick Carbon, and we'll keep going. Well, we're looking forward to answering these in the days and weeks and months and even years to come, but hopefully it's months, not years.
Great. Well, I want to thank everyone for participating today. I hope that you're all well on your way to getting the information you need to electrify your home. But now you know who to turn to when you do have questions and you do need assistance. Please start with our website or call that number or email the switch at paloalto.gov to get started on your project. And we'll be following up with everyone who joined us today and everyone who registered to send some resources out to you. We'll send a recording as well as a copy of the slides. We're also going to send you a customer survey. We want to know how you felt about this presentation, if it was helpful. And your feedback really helps shape our programs to make them better for everyone. So we hope that you'll fill out that survey for us. I want to address one last question from Sheila that no, there is no difference in your monthly charges depending on whether you have a 100 amp or 200 amp panel serving your home. It won't affect your electrical charges on your monthly bill. Yeah. All right. With that, I want to say thanks again, everyone, and have a wonderful evening. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yes, thank you.